Throughout the semester, I had found that two books had caught my attention the most, and it was The Great Gatsby and Portnoy's Complaint. The reason I found those two books the most interesting was because I was able to relate to them. With The Great Gatsby, I was able to relate on the fact that he is someone who comes from a poor class and he's trying to fit into society that isn't his. And with Portnoy's Complaint, what I found interesting was the fact that he was trying to find his Jewish culture, try to find what it is that it meant to be Jewish through a very, very weird way, which it's not me, but that was what was able to relate to. I had begun to look at my life a little bit more and try to remember a lot of the things that I went through. I am a Russian American. I came from Russia when I was a few months away from being 6 years old, and we moved into an Italian community, and it was hard trying to fit in, knowing that you have no people of your own. You're trying to move into a country that you don't know the language, you don't know the people, and more than that, you're moving into a community that isn't yours. And it was always hard to try to understand where it is I stood in my own culture because of the fact that I didn't necessarily know what it was like to be Russian. Why I thought that was hard was because of the fact that at home I was taught Russian ideals, I was taught Russian culture, I ate Russian food. My parents did everything the way they did back in their country, my country. And I would walk out of my house and I would go to school and I would see my friends, and they were all Italian. Most of my friends, even to this day, are basically Italian. I barely have any Russian friends because I didn't grow up in a Russian community. I didn't go to school with many Russians. And in a way, I ran into some problems in my life. I started hating the fact that I was Russian. I hated the fact that that was my culture, that nobody was like me. That I would tell my friends, I had, I don't know, tarragon soda for lunch as a treat, or I would have tongue salad, or I would have these weird things like caviar that most people thought were so exotic, weird that I ate. People would tell me like, "How can you eat that kind of stuff? How can you eat tongue?" And I started hating that idea. I started hating that fact. I started hating being this person that I should love. And probably by about second grade, I started to hate the fact that I was Russian. I started hating the fact that I had a different culture from everybody that was around me. I was in a community that was Italian. I would walk out onto 18th Avenue, and there was a store on our block that is absolutely amazing. You walk by it and you can hear the music blasting from it for 2 blocks. It's just Italian music, Italian culture, it bursts Italianness. And I didn't have that in my community. And only recently did we start to see a little bit of influx of Russian people coming into the culture. We recently got a Russian grocery store, which is pretty good. We don't have to travel far to buy our food. We don't have to travel to Brighton Beach. And that was another thing that I hated. I would tell people I was Russian, so everybody instantaneously assumed that I was from Brighton Beach, or that that's where I lived, or that's where I like to be. I personally hate Brighton Beach. I think it's a poor representation of my people. And for a very long time, I tried to hide the fact that I was Russian because in junior high school, one of the kids had called me a communistic bastard, and things like that always hurt because they can't accept, I guess, my culture, or they have a misunderstanding of my people, and they say derogatory terms to me. And I count myself as an American. I mean, I'm a Russian American, but what I am is American. I came here, I wasn't even 6 years old yet. I can't identify with what it means to be Russian back in Russia because I don't remember that. That's not me. I'm an American. I grew up in an Italian community. This is who I am. And it was only by about ninth grade that I finally slowly started to accept the fact that I was Russian, and to appreciate it and to love it. I started accepting the long culture that we have, the long history that we have. No other country has our history. Just like Russia has no other country's history. Each country has its own unique history, and part of the reason why I started accepting it in ninth grade was because I met my best friend Victoria, and she was open to everything, and she's Italian, of course, and she thought it was the coolest thing on the planet that I was Russian. She would come to my house, and my mother would offer her olivia, or she would offer her a tongue salad, or she would offer her caviar, or she would offer her tarhun or kvass, all these Russian things, and she would have no problem. She would try it all, and she would think most of it was amazing, except for kvass, which is this drink, a bread based drink that we have. She thought that was really weird, and caviar. but she loved Tarragon soda, and it's this vibrant green soda that looks so funky that no one ever wants to try because they think they're gonna die from it. And she loved it. She accepted it. She tried the new things. She accepted my culture. She didn't judge me on the fact that I wasn't Italian, that I was different, that that was me. And it slowly started to resonate in me that my culture, my what it means to be me, what it means to be a Russian American is unique and it's amazing. I have finally been able to accept my culture, to accept where I come from, to not want to be somebody else. And, in a way, like Gatsby, I tried to go into a society that wasn't mine. I tried to fit in with the Italians. I tried to be Italian, but I'm not. And that wasn't necessary because my culture is unique. And like Portnoy, I tried to find out what it meant to be Russian for the longest time, and it took me almost 10 years to figure it out. But I got it, I understood it, and I accepted it. And I learned to love myself for exactly who I am, exactly the country that I come from, because we're all unique, we're all immigrants, we're all something American. We're not just American unless you're a WASP. And essentially, those aren't Americans either because they also came from another country. So we're American something, and I'm Russian American, and I'm more than proud to be that. And if you want to offend me on it, go ahead. But I accept it, and I love it, and I accept my culture more so than I ever did in my entire life.